guys, welcome back to my channel. We're in my office today because I have a little treat for you guys. A buddy of mine gave me some really old school footage of drag racing here where I'm local to, Petersburg, Virginia. And his name's Tim Clary and Fletcher Harrison. This is footage that they had. This is footage that they edited and made themselves. And I'm just sharing it to a big platform so everyone else could see it. I love watching the old school footage. Now, this is true old school footage. There's actually no noise in the recording. You don't get to hear anyone drag racing, sadly, but it's old school camera, and it's awesome that it's been saved digitally. Fletcher Harrison, he is one of the guys that's going to be narrating what's going on because they were actually there back in the day, and he's kind of like the local Forrest Gump of drag racing. He's been everywhere. He's done everything. He's worked with guys such as Don Garlics, Soxon Martins. He's been the go-to guy around here for a very long time. He's got a lot of experience in drag racing. He's the one that actually had all these movies, and Tim Clary is the other guy that's going to be narrating it. He's the one that edited it, compiled it, and kind of talked about what was actually going on in the footage, which we all really appreciate, giving us some context of what's going on. These both guys are a great resource to old school drag racing and information. They both grew up here in Petersburg. They went to Southside Speedway, they said, every Friday night. They raced motorcycles, go-karts, drag raced, all sorts of stuff. So they've been around here for a long time. And make sure, if you appreciate this video, that you go on Facebook to Papa's Speed Shop and give him a follow and to show him some appreciation for putting together all this footage. So let's get to watching some badass drag racing.
This is Tim Clary here with Fletcher Harrison. We're going to talk about drag racing starting in Petersburg around 1958.
All right, we're live.
All right, don't know who the truck or the 55 Ford is.
But it was a brand new truck back in the day.
Yeah, and I don't know the 57 Ford or Chevy.
That's a classic drag race, 54 against Chevy.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty even match. Not sure about the Corvette.
57 Corvette?
59 or so, and that's Stuart Matthews' 35 Chevy sedan. Had a small block Chevy in it, and that's Bobby Whitaker's sedan running Dan Wise's Roadster. That's Clay Wilson's Roadster running Duck Waddell.
Ended up being Townsend's Roadster?
That's right.
Ended up being Ryan Owen's Roadster.
Yeah, and here's Dave Waddell and Dan Wise is giving him the trophies and grinning.
Too cool.
See the footprints across the roof?
I noticed that. I love it. Looks like a wooden roof.
Yeah, it might have plywood in there. There's the gold.
Yep. Some of them trophies still around.
Oh, yeah.
I think that truck sat at Russell's junkyard for a long time. It looks familiar.
Wouldn't be a bit surprised. And I think it's Buddy Rutherford's 58 Chevy, and it could be white when it shows up a lot in it. It's his. It was either the black one or the white one. I haven't ever gotten it straight in my head. But he won a bunch. This is 59 with Dan's Roadster painted green. And it's got 6 deuces on it. This is Billy Kidd's car from over in Richmond. Got a Cadillac in it with, I think, 6 deuces.
All right, we're getting something now anyway.
Right. Got some good pit cars from cars that ran around in Petersburg there in 59.
This is a white 58 Nomad.
And this is Howard Licklider's car out of Stanton, Virginia. Licklider Brothers, they had a Cadillac in it. They ended up putting it in a Bantam car that raced. And Bill Jarvis's sedan over on the far side. And that might be Buddy Rutherford's 58. The reason I say it's got that plaque dangling off the back of it, and he was the president of a car club. And that's him again.
Which club?
I don't remember. I'm not real sure which club it was, but he was the president of it. He had a cleaning service over in Richmond and did real well. That's Joe Toose's. That's a Pat Bilbo Linwood chassis car. And there's Buddy again with the 58 Chevy.
That's a 59 El Camino sitting right around the block here. It looks just like that car.
Probably does. And that's Dan running off of how it looked later. And this is Mingy's service station down in Petersburg.
Across from the old DMV?
It's right there at the bridge.
Okay.
Right there when you turn right heading to Colonial Heights.
Where Brooks Car Wash was?
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Man, that looks like Dave Farmer.
I know it. That's a Kaiser that had a Cadillac in it, but a 51 Kaiser that they'd put a Cadillac, policeman had it. I can't quite remember his name now.
Wow.
It had a vinyl top on it, which was kind of wild to see on an old 51 Kaiser. And that's the trophy dealer game. What the hell was that?
Just a spot of music. That was weird.
Huh. I moved my hand up here, maybe.
There's my coupe.
Yep. And there's the T-model races.
Like watching paint dry.
I know it. For some reason, it's jumping music.
It's got
when
a
it
few
jumps.
little blips in there.
That's Sid Citarella and Marcus Hemphill. That's Mr. Hemphill there. He was one of the T-model competitors. That's Nuts Stowenoff and Buddy Beavers' roadster from out of Washington, D.C. called the Golden Mood. Had a Hemi Chrysler in it with nitro.
Wow.
Woody Woodward's coupe with a DeSoto in it. Channeled a Lot 31 Ford coupe. Got his knees above the edge of the door.
Was he from Petersburg?
Richmond. That could be your roadster. That might be the Turboville roadster right there, and it's possible that it could be the one that Townsend had. I'm not sure. And there's Clyde Poor's car being pulled in with a cool 40 coupe. Just to South Carolina.
That 58 Jaguar that was just on there. There's one in the junkyard down in Prince George. Might be the same car. Black, red interior is kind of hard to miss.
I'll be dog. Man, it's a shame to think about the thing sitting in the junkyard.
It was wrecked.
Okay. There's Dan's roadster, white with the aqua blue wheels on it.
Had some style.
Yeah. He got it at a Langhorne's junkyard in Richmond.
Yeah.
It's down on, I don't know, 360, I think.
I've heard of them.
Yeah. He used to have a Crosley body sitting up on top of a pole. That's how they had where you'd notice it. That's Garlett's going off right there with the red jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Angels from Ohio. Jim Barbee's roadster out of North Carolina. Dan Wise. Dan must have been a false start. Off he goes. The Blue Angels again from Ohio.
Well, we'll stop. Make sure we're getting something.
All right. And this is Dan and his people that came with him down to Chester, which is outside of Charlotte, and they're at a Holiday Inn.
Look like Goldsboro.
Yeah, might be
Greensboro.
Greensboro is what
Yep.
it is.
Yep.
It's funny to see Dan clowning around because he was always so strict at the racetrack. He looks tall and thin there, and of course he put on some weight and didn't look so tall. 57 Buick pulling it with.
Looked like a hell of a vacation.
Mm-hmm. He went to John Marshall High School, so he probably won't long out of high school when he did that thing.
Wow.
I never have done the math on when he got out of school. Now we're back to Petersburg here.
Now that's where the industrial park is now?
Yeah, it's out there at the where the trash dump and all is. The lines are still out on that asphalt.
Yeah.
And that's Willie Glass with his rail that's got a blown Pontiac in it, Paxton blower. And that's Clay Wilson, got a small block Chevy in it. That's Clyde Poole running Larry Huffman. And Larry's in Joe Toosey's coupe with the Oldsmobile engine. He had just bought it from Joe when Joe built the dragster.
I love that picture.
Yeah, it's
Virginia
cool.
Rebs.
Yeah. Clyde Poole's car.
What was the BA on the windshield for?
B altered.
Okay.
That's Pummy Todd and the old 47 Chevy and Stuart Matthews in the 35 Chevy sedan. '59 Chevy, brand new piece running down that track.
Yeah. About 348 probably.
Probably. He's out in front of that 56. Got a 57 Chevy fuel injection going off there, the red one. It could have been a number of people. There's right many of them around here.
Yeah, it's funny because most of the Corvettes are still around.
Yeah.
Unless they were really crashed.
That's Stuart Matthews again running the vet.
Buddy Bear. Do you remember that name?
Yeah, sure.
Terry Weaver, his daughter, contacted me looking for anything we had. And Dave Waddell.
That's Clay Wilson's Roadster again.
You could see the small block in it then. See
Yeah.
the generator on it.
Yeah. I'll tell you the story about that engine after we get through with this. And that's Woody Woodward right there, the Channel Coupe. And there's that black 56 Chevy running again.
I swear, I think that was around when I was in high school. It looks so familiar.
Yeah, Marvin Temple out of Norfolk, Virginia, in that red Roadster. And that's Marvin running Dan Wise. That's
Okay, Dan took him.
Marcus Hemphill with the Model T.
They might have had the most fun with the Model T truck.
Yeah. That's Pomona in '62. And we jumped back to,
Yeah, we got like 2 seconds of Pomona.
yeah. Now we're back to Timmy Diaz with his 3-window coupe and Clyde Poole with his Flame 32.
You know, a lot of these cars still got to be around.
Yeah.
Might have changed over the years.
That's him filling out the details at the weigh-in at the scales, and that's Timmy running off. Did a good job on his pipes.
Yeah, he had the stuff together there.
Yep. That's them, the Virginia Creepers. And that's Dan's Roadster running Marvin Temple, I guess, for top eliminator. And this is Nut Stowenoff driving the Golden Mood out of D.C. Got nitro in that puppy. That's why everybody's holding their ears.
She's screaming.
But he busting the clutch open right there. He took care of the clutch in one run.
That was all for the day.
That was all for the day there. And that's Woody Woodward running Marvin Temple. Marvin putting it on him pretty good. More Timmy Diaz and his sister Ann.
Was Marvin Temple run a shop out in Dinwiddie?
No, he was from Norfolk.
Norfolk, okay. I'm thinking another Marvin that was a snap-on tool guy.
Okay, yeah, Marvin Eastep.
Yeah.
That's a Model T framed Roadster. That's Timmy's car going down the track. And that's the club that
That's
they
Petersburg?
one best appearing that day, and that's Fred Clark's 32 Coupe.
That thing's still around. You know that's still around. Unless it was totaled.
Yeah, it's a mighty nice car. You'd think it would stay in one piece. Timmy Diaz running somebody. Oh, he's singling. And that's Clay Wilson running. I'm not sure who that Roadster is. I think it's up. I've got pictures of it at Manassas. So it might have been a Northern Virginia car. And that one, I'm not. Neither one of those two I can't identify. Fred Allen running. It's a real nice looking 34. I don't know who it was. And that's Dave Waddell running a sedan. Timmy Diaz going off against Clay Wilson.
So Eastern Speedway was there for what, 57 to 59?
58 to 61.
58 to 61.
And there's a Cadillac powered rail for the club. Pretty red 40 back there.
That is a pretty red 40.
Timmy's car.
Looked like antique license plates, but they were brand new back then.
That's right. They had alternating gears between black ones and white ones
Yeah.
back in those days.
That was a nice car.
Yeah, it was a super nice. And like I said, he still got it in 2020.
That's amazing.
This coupe is Dave Waddell's coupe. He got it from Don Tallow and then fixed it up. He had a Paxton blower on it. And that's Earl Road running Dave right there. And that old full-speed hydro and that Ozenville would get off the line good, and that was the key. This is Dave Waddell right in the middle of your screen.
Duck. Dave's his son. Yeah.
That's right. And then Timmy Dye is going off against Dave Waddell.
Too cool. I swear this guy was at Greens Raceway every race.
You see him. He's working that gear on his head to make his hand work down at the bottom. They're mechanical people. Yeah, I think that's your coupe that they're working on.
It's amazing how many people were involved. Now you go racing, you'd be out there by yourself.
Oh yeah.
That was a big part of it. Was it?
Yeah, everybody had a lot of folks in those car clubs. You know, even clubs that weren't very good, they still had 8 or 10, 15 people. Good-looking Chop 33 running against Clyde Poole. That's Dan running Marvin Temple. Marvin got him by about a car.
Yeah, McCoop.
Timmy running. Who the hell had it then?
Was it Wilson?
Don Tyler still had it.
Okay.
Wilson put him in it. He got it from Donald Tyler when they took the engine out. That's Woody Woodward. And we got a 57 running Earl Rowe. Earl gets on by him.
I got the old Creeper's Coupe from Robert Anthony.
Yeah.
His
Isn't that something?
father was Robert Anthony. He was a junior, so his father was in the Asphalt Angels.
Huh.
There's Frank Blahau's truck.
Yeah. He'll be running Dan Wise here in a minute.
Amazing that any of this survived. Did any piece of these cars survive?
I know it. Dan's Roadster went down to Tidewater, and John Jack Fuller has been trying to find the body, and he can't find it. He said he thought he knew where it was, but it turns out it didn't.
Over the years, it's bound to be hard to identify.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Who'd you get the Blahau truck from?
I don't remember the boy's name.
I know it's set up there in 226 with Williamson had it. Wouldn't even let me look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, they sandblasted it, and that was what messed it up when they got to cutting the paint off of it and all. It started rusting bad.
Got a lovely Continental kit.
Yeah, we're back to Chester, South Carolina. Garlet's going through. This is 1959.
Did it truck out of Washington again.
Yep. Parks Quinn and that Bantam.
Junior, the painter over here in Watauga's building a Bantam.
Huh. Where in the world did he find one?
I don't know. You still got the Fiat?
Yeah.
Topolino?
Uh-huh.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I still got it. Topolino.
Kind of Colonial Heights over by one of the schools has got a couple of them.
Yep. Yeah, his is super nice. I've known about them for 30-some years, I guess. Used to be down on Norfolk Avenue.
Yeah.
Had them down there. And then he had it over at North Elementary.
I remember asking Bunky Dish, he had an A model in the backyard, and I got my daddy stopping there. I was asking him did he want to sell it. He gave us a price, but it was
Too much.
more than I had.
Yeah.
It was probably dirt cheap these days, but
Yeah, I know what you mean. Affording it is affording it.
I guess it was an A model. It could have been a 32.
It was a. It had a Chrysler in it when he got it.
Yeah.
Early Chrysler.
I remember it was like a light blue.
That's right.
Had some
Kind of
race
silver.
stickers in the windows.
Silver blue, yeah.
I thought it was the coolest thing I ever seen.
Yeah. That was a nice car, and it just sat it and went bad. Ended up getting sold on eBay.
It was an A model coupe down on West Roslyn, down sitting at the Goodyear tire place down there, and they gave me the body, and I went back to get it, and they had trashed it. It
Daggone.
was sitting there upside down, waiting for the truck to pull it on.
Boy, you just missed that one, didn't you?
Yeah, story of my life. I've been trying to find the old Turbyville Roadster, but it went somewhere around Charlottesville and never heard of again. You would think it would be identifiable.
Yeah, you aren't kidding with the 40 dash in it. Even though a lot of them had a 40 dash, it still ain't that many floating around.
Yeah. But then I would have been changed so many times by now.
Yeah.
Back in the
Golden
day.
mood right there.
I can't help but think some of these dragsters still got to be behind somebody's house.
I expect Cecil Curry out of Greenville, South Carolina.
When did the factory start building frames of dragsters?
58. Pretty much. The Linwood cars were built up in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and then Chassis Research was out in California near Los Angeles, and they were the two main suppliers on each side of the country. This is Bob, ain't that crazy? Can't say his name now, slipped my mind, but anyway, Glenn Leisha drove it. They were from Kansas City, and that thing smoked the tires. Didn't run as good as Garlett's, but it was sure burn them up.
Put on a show.
Yep. Bob Sullivan. And evidently Cecil Curry blew a clutch, and they got the body work off that thing working on it. And there's Leisha burning them up one more time. Parks Quinn and a Bantam.
The Bantam's making a pretty race car.
Hubert Holden and a
How makes an ugly
Crosley.
race car?
Crosley's were ugly as sin.
They had a pile of them down here at Coggins and crushed them.
They sure did. How goes Leisha? Watch that thing turn on about a 45. Look at that. Went across the track. You know, he had to tighten up. That's, I think, no, that ain't Garlett's hair. That's Garlett's, I believe. It's a shame they had to photograph from such far distances where they can't get a good shot of it. That's
Yeah.
a nice looking car there.
Amazing. Like I say, it's amazing. Any footage is left. Any pieces of cars left.
I know it. I'm thankful to gotten what it did. That's obviously Garlett's piece.
Yep.
'32 Chevy channel frame, and nothing is round on it but the roll bar. Everything else was square edged. And
Is that in his museum? Is it still around?
I think so. I think he recreated it.
Okay.
I mean, I know he did the car because I saw it start up before and all, but I can't say that I know for sure it was the original car because he might have just thrown it away. You know, everybody did back in the day. But
easier and cheaper to start all over again.
yeah, if it ever be a rail I'd put together to recreate, would be that one.
Yeah.
That was the first model car I ever had. Was Garlitz's rail.
Wow. Swamp Rat.
Yeah, it was like 59 or something like that when I got one.
There's a 55 in here with the back wheel wells cut way up.
This was a big meet. This was a national event. It was an organization called ITAA, International Time and Automobile Association or something. Bob Osiecki was the guy that put this race on. He put on three years worth of these races, and some down in Florida and all. But this was a big deal because NHRA wasn't big like it is now. So it was right many organizations that were vying for the main role in the United States.
Gotta love early Corvettes.
Yeah. That's Art Arfon's Green Monster. Earl Latham and his Oldsmobile powered rail. Clyde Poole running Fred Clark. Timmy Diaz.
And the Creeper's good.
Yep. And that is don't know who this roadster is. I don't know either of these two. Don't know.
It's about a 35 Roadster with no
I know
fenders.
it did. That's Dan Wise's roadster running boy from Norfolk.
That's why the Roadster went to Norfolk and can't find it. Somebody got it.
Yep. I'm sure they do. Woody Woodward's coupe, the soda powered Model A, running Fred Clark. That was Newport News. There's Stuart Matthews in the 35 Chevy. Dave Waddell in the coupe.
Nice hats.
That's boy from Hagerstown, Maryland, that pink 34 and running Stuart Matthews. Dave Waddell on the right. Green Monster, Art Arfon's.
It'd be pretty brave to make a car pink back then.
I know it. He's an old tough guy. He won't worry about nobody.
No?
Vernon Rowley was his name.
Vernon Rowley.
Yeah, he ended up running Chryslers for years. Did real well. Ran pro stock. That was Timmy Diaz, is 34. Wayne Woodward.
Petersburg Riders Road, Dragster, Club Dragster.
That's right. And it's got Joe Toose's Chrysler, him in it right here. So it's a lot faster than what it was with Cadillac. I think it ran 142 or something with it.
Wow.
And then he got an official frame after that. Got one of those Linwood chassis, and that pushed him above everybody when he did that. And this is Willie Glass had bought Marvin Temple's car here and primed it black. This was tail end of '58, last race of '58 down at Elizabeth City. and a man comes. This is a club dragster, the Model T rails. You can see they're narrowed together in the front like he would do a dragster.
Mm-hmm.
And they're pushing it up. That red 57 is Wayne Woodward's car.
They didn't have a lot of pipe benders back in.
He's running Earl Layden and whips him pretty good. There's Willie Glass running Marvin's old roadster, Fred Clark from Newport News, and that Chop 32.
I missed the Willie Glass auction. I think they sold off a whole lot of the really good stuff before the auction even hit. But
yeah, it probably went for super highs. Dave Waddell's 32 running, I can't tell. That's Mellon Jarvis, Bill Jarvis with his wife, and then Woody Woodman split the ass in his pants out.
He's racing. He ain't worried about it.
Yeah, that's right. One of them guys around anyway. And this is 59, the first race of 59 February. And, I'm sorry, it's still 58 because it's showing the club dragsters. So this is the last race in 58. This is Broad Street over in Richmond.
City of the Monuments.
Yeah. And Woody's smoking them off pretty good. And that's Dave Waddell again, his 32. Bill Jarvis' sedan. That's got a full race flathead in it, real pretty engine. And Clyde Poole got a DeSoto. I mean, that's a real Chrysler in that. It's got a 331 in it. And that's Earl Layden, who ain't got too long to live, bless his heart. And that's Dave Waddell again, Blown Nose and Bill. That's this is Marvin Temple, so it's moved back to mid 58. It's before Willie got the thing and primed it. So we're back kind of like in a summer race.
Billy Kane in any of these shots?
Yeah, he's in the group pictures.
Somewhere in there. So I guess.
But he'd started on that 32 and bought pieces. He had a brand new quick change for it and different things, and told me about it. He said he gathered up pieces, and all of a sudden he just got married and quit putting money in the car, and it sat all those years.
Yeah, at least it sat. It was protected. It was.
And he didn't want to sell it. I offered to buy it from him long before he died, and he didn't want to sell it. But then his daughter sold it, or his son rather.
Yeah, I talked to the tow truck driver that had moved it from the house to storage, and he would not give me a price on it. Would not get me contacting the right people.
Right.
Then I heard.
Well, I was talking to them during the time they wanted to sell it. After he died and everything, because he was selling magazines, and I bought some magazines, and then what happened? You got a bunch of X's across there.
Oh.
And showing some pit shots down here at Maple. And that's Clyde Poole's car before he put flames on it.
Yep.
So this is
before it had the big headers.
This is all the way in 57.
This is early.
This would be 57 here. And that's Whitey Ford with a flathead Ford dragster. Arnie Bellin out of South Carolina. He went to work for Holman and Moody in that 27 coupe. That's a boy from Elizabeth City. Can't say his name right now. Had a good towing service down there. He just died a few years ago. Timmy Dye is his coupe. Still got exhaust manifolds on it. Hadn't made the headers yet. That's boys that had 1320 engineering. I'll have to think of their name. That's Marvin Temple in that Pontiac powered 31. And that's Walt Kingsley out of New Jersey that gave Earl Layden inspiration to build a car that he built. Not sure who that. I think that's Marvin Temple right there running, probably Dan. And that's the 1320 engineering boys, Thevenin, Toby Thevenin, and those boys.
You good on names. I'm terrible.
That's, I'm not sure. I can't quite tell. That's just Evan and Boys Coupe again. Got a flathead in it, that's why it ain't beating anybody.
The Creepers were definitely the best dressed.
Yeah, they had a first class bunch. That's Kingsley out of New Jersey again. This is Joe Toosey and a club dragster with the Hemi running Earl Layden. Earl had an Oldsmobile on that thing. And there's the Kingsley boy. And this is Petersburg. This is August the 7th of 1960, and Joe Toosey gets hit from behind by Howard Licklider, and it paralyzes him, makes him a paraplegic.
Wow.
This is Dan Wise at Emporia, about 1961, running his rail. Bob Cassidy had a Wilmington, Delaware national record holding car.
I thought I'd seen the action on the side of it.
That's right. And this is a Howard twin Chevy engine out of Los Angeles. Bill Carroll's Fiat out of York, Pennsylvania, with Fred Zipp driving it.
There's a 55 with the fender wheels cut out.
Yeah. Alvin Huffner was who owned that car from out of Richmond, right there. That was Pop Witt's 61 Chevy convertible. I don't know who that 58 Ford is. That's Dan Wise's Corvette. And that's Earl Rose 60 Pontiac. And not real sure on that Model A. I got a feeling it's the boy that run a drag strip. Howard twin cam.
That looks like Frank Baja's wife. I've seen her in some other pictures.
Does look like her. That's Bill Dismuke, who was the tech director for Division II back in those days, giving him an award. That's Harold Ramsey's Union Park Pontiac car.
Where were they out of?
Wilmington, Delaware.
Okay.
Dan Wise.
He puts it to. I love this thing hopping.
Yeah. Well, he'd get it turned up at pretty good. He probably had it 7,500 or something leaving. Dick Stockdale running Henry Medlin out of Newport News. And that's Fred Zipp leaving in Bill Carroll's car.
Is that steel or is that fiberglass?
Yeah, steel.
Wow.
This is Heffron's Model T called Yogi Bear. And he must have had a problem on the top end because
somebody did.
Down goes the rescue folks.
I don't see any smoke. So.
Yeah.
When did parachutes come in?
They had them, the track was long enough they didn't have to, generally, the throttle might have hung on it.
It was Bob Whiting again.
Yeah, it was Bob Whiting's 60 El Camino. He'll show up here in a second. There's Dan's blue Corvette running off. There's Bob running a 40 Ford. Union Park Pontiac, Harold Ramsey. That's Jimmy Williams out of Petersburg. And that's Black 60 Chevy.
There's Wilson.
That's the Virginia Creepers Car Club.
Trophy time.
That thing right there is Wilson Duke, the guy right in the corner there.
Okay. That's a heck of a trophy girl.
Yeah, she's pretty good looking.
They went all out.
Big damn trophies. Woody Woodward getting his trophy. This is at Elizabeth City.
Big smiles.
The club dragster.
You would think that some of them dragsters would still be around. And that's all, folks.
All right, let's see if we got something